Last week in our podcast, we talked about what role does tech play in language and its future. This week's podcast, we are excited to talk about how Spanish language is evolving from Spanish 1.0 to Spanglish to Web Spanish 3.0. And to learn more about it, here is our bilingual guest, Juan Paz from Guatemala.
Hey, Oscar, glad to be back from last week's podcast. So I'm happy to learn and inspire to knowledge today and every day. Thank you for having me and for helping me acquire that linguistic excellence. So I'm curious, what do you mean by Web Spanish 3.0?
Well, this is how tech is helping users improve their verbal skills in Espanol. And here at Duski's headquarters in Miami, we are very excited to introduce new, practical, and innovative expressions such as Web Spanish 3.0.
Okay, so this is like the first time I hear the term Web Spanish 3.0. Can you please elaborate what you mean?
Sure, I think we've all been experiencing Spanglish syndrome and waiting for the moment when the pain from code switching be addressed properly. For an English speaker of Hispanic background, I must say Spanglish is painful when translating, especially in work related environments. However, we at Duski's Analytics Lab have been experimenting with new terms such as Web Spanish 3.0. Imagine a timeline starting from Spanish 1.0 or your standard Spanish, the one you learned back in school, to Spanglish, which became popular in the US among English speaking Hispanics due to translating limitations, and now Web Spanish 3.0, which brings together the two, Spanish plus Spanglish, to disrupt the speaking behavior with Dusky's emerging platform and technology to create a new universal WebLogic Spanish Code 3.0 and a new style of self expression by USCSH in Espanol.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm a web designer with experience in, language programming and code writing. You think this new style of chat GPT and self-expression is useful in my field?
Well, Web Spanish 3.0 and DVASCII code makes ChatGPT, JavaScript, SQL, and other computer programming languages and code writing in Spanish more user friendly and relevant to the needs of US ESH at home and abroad.
So, you think traditional translations for writing code and preventing Spanish or are preventing Spanish speaking people from capitalizing on economic opportunities?
I think so, Juan. You know, traditional Spanish is not keeping up with new tech terminology being developed for commercial applications by geeks out of Silicon Valley. If you remember the tech terms discussed and translated in our previous podcasts, like software to mean triple A, smartphone to mean televersado, or startup to mean paramercial, you'll notice that these new expressions are fast, more streamlined, and relevant to the needs of bilingual speakers, as well as people learn English and translating without delay reaction.
Okay, okay. So let me try it out with the word startup in Espanol for listeners and see what it sounds like. Paramercial.
That's right, Juan. And as you can hear yourself speaking in a more Webologic Spanish tone, the listener can hear a new and universal Webologic Spanish Code 3.0 being created the ASCII way, the way of the future Spanish 3.0 for commercial, personal, and professional applications.
Okay, so that sounds like an exciting self expression in Web Spanish 3.0. You mean I can start translating by going to askDoski.com and search for terms and translations like these?
Easy. So you can go to askDoski.com and search startup and find a definition for it and learn more about why Dusky thinks this is a better translation. And once you try it in front of your family and friends, I guarantee you will raise some eyebrows and you will stand out in the crowd as a trendsetter. So I hope you open Dusky's homepage and continue following askDoski.com for word of the day, um, tech terms, translations, and definitions. So please give us a like on your YouTube podcast.
Okay, I sure will try to the new expressions and ask my friends to do the same. And I look forward for more exciting words for the smartphone chat on the go.
Thank you, Juan. And I encourage listeners to keep subscribing to listen to more impressive words and revolutionary Spanish 3.0 for the iPhone user in future upcoming askDusky.com podcasts.
All right. Thank you, Oscar.
Thank you, Juan.